Hiya, and welcome to another very exciting video. In this one, I wanted to get into something a little more practical. I wanted to elaborate a little bit on the idea of posing like you draw. The example I'm going to discuss here is something I've been guilty of for many years. And I remember once it was pointed out to me, I couldn't unsee it anymore. I swallowed a red pill that day. Red pill? Blue pill? Is it a red pill or blue pill? Red pill. No! Smarties. I was eating Smarties that day. I did eat the red ones first, though, because that's how I roll. Anyways, let's just jump straight into it. We're going to hop onto my desktop and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And so what we have here is a very generic looking character. Any resemblance to any person, living or dead, is purely coincidence. So this is Krita, but it still applies to any 2D animation software really that's out there, particularly anything that works with some kind of digital puppet, you know, Harmony, Moho, whatever. And what we're going to do, I selected his head and we're going to make him look up. Right? And this is what most people do. Here's the issue with that. So we're switching to just looking at construction lines just because the simplicity of everything we see really is going to point out what the issue is that I'm trying to discuss. So here we have two head shapes. We're going to work on the one on the left for a little bit. And so if the head is just looking straight ahead, right, we would typically draw, right, just a reference line somewhere around there. But if we were drawing, right, and the character looks up, we would draw the line something like that, right? And then we would add the nose and the eyes and whatever. Now, if we look at the shape on the right, we'll do the same thing. Level head, let's draw the line somewhere around there. Now what happens when we rotate? I think some of you are seeing where this is going already, right? Does this look anything like this with the head tilted back? It does not. So this is the issue. When we're working with a character in software, in animation software, really rotating the head doesn't do enough. We have to adjust the features to really sell that perspective, right? I think maybe one of the reasons why we do this, if we go back to, you know, this with the nose there, if it's in profile and you rotate, then it works. The problem is this is not profile, this is quarter front, right? And this is the view that most shows animate and pose in 80% of the time. So it works in profile. It wouldn't work in the front view, right? Because in the front view, you know, that's all you're doing. You're just rotating the head. It'll just look like he's tilting his head. I think for whatever reason, when we're looking at the quarter front, we're trying to work with it like it's in profile. And it just doesn't work. Just the perspective of it causes the issue. To drive the point home, we're going to look at a live action example and see what we can do there. All right, so here we have a live example. I switched to some other software because I had to do some editing, which you'll see in a bit. If we start by this initial position, right, and if we drew some reference lines, you can see center lines there, and then the camera is actually a little bit lower than the eyes, and so there's a slight upward tilt of the head. No biggie, but when I look up, you can see center line, more or less, and a much more exaggerated arc for the perspective of the eyes. The trick is, when you're looking at this stuff, is the eyes basically stay level. When they go back, they kind of squash on the vertical and skew a little bit for the angle and things like that, right? But basically the trick is to keep the eyes level. And so just to show just how weird things look, I got this other example here where I cut the head separate from the body, and you can see that if I start tilting a little bit, like a little bit isn't too bad, and like you could maybe look down a little bit too. Looks a little weird, but it doesn't take long, you know, to push this, and it looks off, right? And it's like I said, like I think it's because the eyes aren't level. If I keep going, it looks more like I'm tilting my head sideways rather than looking up, right? So this kind of thing, you can't push too far because it just looks like you break something. Ah! Ah! Oh my god! 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 Anyways, I hope this has been useful. That maybe some of you out there can benefit from my experience and improve your work quicker than I have. That's all I got for today. Thank you for watching. Animate away. You know, I switched to Smarties after I realized that M&M has a serious quality control issue. Yeah, too many W's. Last bag I opened actually had some 3s and E's too, and that's where I drew the line.